Hello everyone, welcome to Anna with Plants. My name is Anastasia. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. In today's video, we are doing an end of summer wrap up. We are going to be talking about plants throughout my entire collection, some of the best plants in my opinion that have done the most this summer, and then some of the plants that have really took a turn for the worse. I have been really itching to talk about some of these plants because they have just been so beautiful, and I feel like so much in the backdrop. I've been tackling so much stuff in my collection. This summer was the summer of pests for me. I got a lot of mealybugs, I got thrips too. Finally, I want to talk about some plants that have just been doing well and have been kind of in the backdrop. I haven't talked about these plants in a hot minute, so I am really excited to be showing them to you today. And then some plants that I will not be super excited to share. We are just gonna hop right into it. I'm gonna start off on a good note because I feel like a video should always start off on a high note. I'm gonna talk about a plant success that I have just been so happy to see it doing well and thriving. Okay, it is my NSC silver crystallinum. Oh man, the journey of this plant. This is from NSC Tropicals. Here's their little cute plant tag here, and then this I believe is Enid's writing, could be wrong. This leaf is fairly fresh compared to the back leaf, which is slightly darker. This is still pretty soft, and I hope the camera can see that pink blush color coming from the sinus, kind of diffusing out through the veins. She's a stunner. I wish I had photos of the emergent. It was a beautiful blush pink color. She was really not doing well in the beginning of the summer. This plant was actually patient 0 for thrips. This is the first plant that I found that pest on, and it slowly spread throughout those plant shelves in my plant room, sadly. However, I treated it, and finally, I am getting leaves without any damage from thrips. It feels so good to be able to say that. I also gave this one an up pot during spring. This is in an 8-inch planter. It has given me some big leaves finally. This is one of the older leaves, and you can just see the size of it before I did the repot, and then this leaf here was the first one to come out, and then this leaf is still expanding, so I think it'll be even bigger when it's all done than the last one. I am just so happy, so glad this plant is doing well. You cannot believe the journey we have been through together. Battling thrips is not a thing to take lightly. First one off the bat, the NSC silver crystallinum. This is the first plant that did so well this summer. I think I'm just gonna alternate between the good and the bad. I don't want to end on a sad note. This is the Queen of Hearts Anthurium. You cannot tell that it was a Queen of Hearts, but it was. If I find some clips of the plant tour that I did, I believe in January of this year, this plant was quite something, and it got stuck in the garage, got too hot, got dried out, underwatered, leaves started crisping, got attacked by spider mites, also found some mealybugs on it, and all of the leaves died back, and now we have a stump. You can see hopefully in the middle there is some green coming up from the caterpillar, so I wouldn't say all hope is lost. I might have to check out the roots and repot this one and just kind of do like a trim, because I really don't know what these roots are doing. I doubt it needs such a big container for no foliage at all. This is just a sad one because the Queen of Hearts is a really beautiful anthurium, and I had a pretty big plant of it, so I'm really sad that I lost her this summer, but hopefully it'll be a comeback at some point. Let's talk about some Carlas. I really had a Carla moment earlier this year, and I still really love Carlas. However, they're a bit more of a trickier anthurium, at least in my experience, so I want to show you a good Carla hybrid, and then I'll talk about some of the Carlas that are not doing super well in my collection. So we'll start off with the good. This is from Carnivoro. The anthurium is a crystal mag crossed with a tezula select Carla Blackier, and this is the newest leaf on her. She is honestly mostly Carla in my opinion. You can really see that through the color and the veination. I really do need to upsize this plant desperately because it's kind of been putting out more so the same size leaves This one was not such a huge size jump from the last one, so that means it is time to upsize this container. It was a slow grower for a bit. These are just some of the older leaves, and then it kind of popped out this leaf, which was a little bit wonky, and then this one just came out and looks super duper stunning. So I am really glad that this one is doing well and that it decided to adopt a lot of the carla characteristics. The carla being the pollen donor. Usually it's the parent that will have a lot of the characteristics in a hybrid, but I guess I just got a seedling that had more carla in it, so I am not complaining. This plant is super stunning and I love her. So this is the Crystal Mag Carla. The next two are going to be really sad. They're actually from the same purchase too. This is from Buzz Plants. This is the Carla Blackier, and this is the Buzz one crossed with the RA8 is a specific Carla I'm talking about. I have it in this container because it went back to a stump, unfortunately. These next Carlas I'm going to talk about, I think I just neglected them a little bit too much. I shouldn't have kept them in the garage. I am really kicking myself for doing that just because I am notorious for just leaving plants to their demise in the garage because out of sight, out of mind. I really think there's a good chance I might lose this one, especially because the growth point, I don't even know if there's any nodes left in this plant. It really died back down to nothing. Hopefully there might be a node down there that might activate one day. I really don't know. Right now I'm just keeping it in this enclosed container and sending good vibes to it because this one was also a pretty plant too. Okay, let's talk about the other Carla that I got from him. The other two I got as seeds. They are the Carla OG4 crossed with the RA8. They were actually doing pretty well as seedlings. They grew their first leaves and they just, I think, dried out, got attacked by spider mites. You take your pick on what went wrong. It was probably all my fault. I will take the blame for that. So now they're back to, well, one is back to basically a stump and then the other one did push a new leaf. I'll show you the stumpy one right now that has a little bit of mold growing on that top stem, but it has died completely back down. And then this is the other one that's doing slightly better, but not by much. It has a cute little baby leaf that literally just popped out not that long ago, so hopefully it'll stay and keep this plant going. That is the nice thing about having duplicates is you have two shots, so if that one doesn't work out, maybe this one will. I really have to take better care of my anthurium seedlings. It was rough for them. Just to kind of show you that I'm not a total plant killer, I do have one of them in that same order that I placed that is not doing horribly. This is the clone of it right here. This one's actually not doing too bad. It just pushed out this new leaf. This one is still going strong and I recently repotted it and it is growing roots out of the bottom, so it's taken to the repot. I'm hoping that the next leaf it'll push out will actually be a good size jump up. Not all of the Buzz Carlas are not doing well. Just wanted to throw that one in there. Let's switch up gears to a good plant since I'm feeling bad about myself now. Let's talk about a monstera, which I don't really feature monsteras too much on my channel. It's mainly anthurium and hoya at this point, but I wanted to show you my mint monstera because it suddenly decided to take off maybe this last month and a half. Look at her. This plant is doing super well. It was stuck on this leaf for the longest time. I don't know why. These two leaves were the leaves that I got originally, and then this leaf came out and then it just didn't do anything for months and months. It pushed out this leaf and then it immediately pushed out this leaf. If you can see here, it is working on a new leaf. It is doing fantastic right now. I also really like this monstera. This last leaf was mainly green, but I really do enjoy that mottled green pattern going on here. Really nice to see it mature, and yeah, I can't wait to see what the next leaf will look like. So the last Carla hybrid that I want to show you was from, I believe I got it from Rooted Rarities, but it was originally from Grantheriums. It's the Carla SB. This is what it's looking like right now. I think I should probably take this leaf off. It's donezo. This is one of the last leaves that's hanging on. The roots are looking not good. I've just been keeping it in water because I've been hoping it might grow water roots, but I feel like at this point it's just not really doing much of anything. If you guys have any suggestions on what to do with this, I am kind of tired of battling this anthurium. It's been rooting and then rooting and rotting for several times now. Every time I think I finally got it to stop rotting and grow new roots, those new roots rot and die. So I don't know, this one's just a tricky one. I think it's just a seedling that's prone to rot. So any tips on how I can get this one to finally be happy? I am all ears, so let me know down in the comments if you have any experience rooting very tough seedlings that just want to die. Let me know. Let's talk about my queen anthurium. It finally pushed out a super stunning leaf. Look at her. This is like a head comparison. She is stunning. I didn't buy this as a dark and narrow, but to me it looks like a dark and narrow, doesn't it? The other leaves were not so great. This one was the leaf before that, and I unfortunately dropped it and it kind of like cut the bottom a little bit, but I got this as a pretty tiny seedling, so I'm actually really happy to see it start to grow out and do really well. It finally is growing from caterpillar too, so that is new for it. I am so glad that she is maturing and sizing up. I can't wait until she gets bigger and starts getting those ears. That is going to be super cute. I just really quickly wanted to show you guys this one because I am so proud of her right now. Let's talk about a hoya that unfortunately didn't make it this summer. So this hoya was actually one of my larger hoya plants, and I kept this one just for the sake of a video. So now after this video, I'm finally going to throw it out, which is great because I've been really tired looking at it. This was my hoya pandurata. This is a very sad one to report. In one of the videos I kind of noticed that it might be rotted, and that was correct. So I took some cuttings off of it because it was rotted. Most of the cuttings did not take. However, I did have 2 cuttings that rooted and are finally pushing growth. It's not like this plant will forever be gone. I will just have to restart off of those 2 cuttings. But yeah, she was something back in her day. She really was, and I finally got to see her bloom. At this point, I know that it was a death bloom, but you know what? I'll take whatever hoya bloom I can get. I'm not stingy about it. Let's not get technical here, okay? A bloom is a bloom. It was probably dry rot. If I want to nail down a culprit as to why this plant died, I let it dry out too much, and then I watered her all at once, and the roots were done for, and then they rotted. So dry rot for this hoya pandurata. Sad, but she will continue on in those 2 cuttings that I took. This anthurium not only did well in my opinion, it also is one of my favorites for the summer. I am so glad that I decided to purchase this anthurium. It is just so beautiful. The leaf right now doesn't look beautiful. I'll show you up close as to why, but from afar it actually looks good. This is the tezula dark form ace of spades. It's been sizing up quite nicely. A lot of the leaves have been kind of ugly. I'm hoping to get a nice leaf one day. I want to show you the roots. The roots look really good. Hopefully you can see. So this plant took really well to the repot. This is one of the older leaves, and then it kind of pushed out this wonky leaf here. This one I think might have been attacked by spider mites, and then this one was probably the most perfect leaf it gave me. And this leaf is the newest. It would have been perfect had it not been for those damn spider mites. I don't know if you can say that, but it was right next to an alocasia if you need any reasoning as to where the spider mites came from. But oof, look at how dark and beautiful, and that sinus and those veins are slightly red tinged, and the sheen is like oily almost. It's got like a blue purple shift to it. You can really see that with the light off to the side here. I don't even care if this leaf is ugly. This plant has been doing really well. It's been taking to the repot. It's been battling spider mites and still growing. It's probably going to be hard to show, but it is working on a new leaf here. The tip of that just kind of like popped a bit, so I am anticipating a new leaf in the next month or so. But I just wanted to show you guys my dark form ace of spades. It is lovely. Let's talk about the last sad anthurium and potential loss. This is a kartel daun anthurium, and I was really excited about it, and it was not cheap either. This was the Kartel Daun Bigfoot. This is what it looks like. Don't know if it will be saved or not, but it's like this leaf is done. I like the stem feels okay, so I might just do what I did for the Carlas and put it in a dome and hope for the best. Honestly, I placed a new order for another Bigfoot, which I know I shouldn't be buying a plant to replace a plant that I killed, but I really just want a good Bigfoot, man. I really love that plant. It's one of my favorite Kartel Daun. Oh, okay, sorry. It's pronounced Kartel Daun? Kartel Daun, I think. Sorry, you know what I'm trying to say. But I have a new one coming, I think sometime in September. It's gonna be here, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened to this one. It was doing okay. It wasn't really sizing up, and then it just took a turn for the worst. And this is what I have to show for it. So yeah. I want to talk about an oldie but a goodie, and it's been another hot minute since you've seen this plant, and I will probably never tire of staring at this plant, and hopefully you won't either. This is my heuschkeliana variegated. She is a beaut. She did really well this summer. She was just in the background minding her own business when the thrips were taking over the plant room, and she did kind of have like a little bit of a dormancy period where I didn't see too much growth yet. This last month or so, she finally started to put out new growth. So you can see all those pops of pink are new leaves coming in. So she's been continuing to grow. She also bloomed for the first time, and that was quite an achievement because despite having this pretty large plant, I'd say she never bloomed for me. This peduncle right here, hopefully you can kind of see the buds. There's really not much to say about her. She kind of speaks for herself and steals the show. So I'll just show her off one more time. And yeah, she's just been such a gift to have. Really glad to have this plant in my collection. I want to follow up this plant with this plant because I think they're a lot alike but slightly different. This is the lacunosa tricolor bruno. This plant has been really doing very well. It's been growing impressively. I love the variegation, obviously, but I love the wavy leaves. I think the wavy leaves are what make this plant different from this one. I know the size is quite different, but hopefully you guys can tell the difference. I don't know. In the camera, it kind of looks the same, but to the eye, there is some differences. The other thing that I love about this is the backs of the leaves are also very beautiful. Hopefully you can see the backs of the leaves. It's kind of like a painting, a super pretty painting. I also love how the stems of this plant are pink. I think that's a really nice touch to it. It's just a really easy plant, so if you can get your hands on the Bruno, I would highly recommend. Since we're on the Hoya train, I might as well keep going. Of course, I'm gonna show this plant because this plant just never fails me, and it's been growing really well this summer, and I just want you guys to see it. Hopefully you can see how much it's grown. This is a Hoya linearis. Let me take another step back. Can you see it? I think the longest tendril is even longer than the bottom of my hand that you can't see. It's also been putting out new growth from the top. I think I will want to propagate this one soon. If you guys want me to film me doing that, please let me know. I do the one node cuttings. That's the way that you get the most cuttings for your buck. The way I do it is not the same that I do for all of my other props, just because I feel like this Hoya is a little bit harder to root than others, so I do change up how I root this plant. So if you want to see that, please let me know. You cannot deny the beauty of this plant. Even if you don't like Hoyas, I feel like this is just an all-around pleaser. I just want it to keep growing, and I hope by this time next year she's just gonna be a beast. Okay, let's talk about two more plants that we lost this summer, and then I will end on a good note. So the two Hoya plants that were also pretty big, I wouldn't say they were huge, but they were like more sizable. They were definitely long and trailing, was the heuschkeliana the outer variegated, and the sigillatis. I unfortunately lost them to repots both at the same time. They were in the pleca that I had, the tiny ones, and then it just didn't take to the repot. Sometimes when you repot in new mediums, the plant doesn't take. And that is just the story there. So I noticed it right away and I took cuttings, and thankfully, because I took the cuttings at the right time, most of the cuttings took. So I'm just gonna restart the plants. They're not completely lost, but the plants as you knew them are gone. This is the heuschkeliana cuttings here, and then the sigillatis are over here. And I'm super pleased with how quickly these were able to root, and a lot of them are actually pushing growth points. I think it's only been like 2 weeks or something since I did the initial cuts, and then you can already see hopefully that new growth point already growing and some good roots. 'Tis the reality of repotting and transitioning to new mediums. Sometimes it just doesn't go well. So if you don't see it going well, just take some insurance cuttings just in case. I think this might be even my biggest anthurium I have at the moment. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't know when this plant took off, but it did. I think the last time you saw this plant, I was putting it in like a collar. This is my import pap. It's a noID because I really have no idea where it came from. Yeah, it's bigger than my head for sure, and I got a big old head. This is the newest leaf right here in the middle. It's not even done expanding yet. How insanely big it is. Like, it's even gonna be bigger than this. This is the leaf before. The leaf before that, the leaf before that, and the leaf before that. So its journey has been very quick. Like I said, I put the collar on it and it really did do well in the collar. It definitely upsized and it rooted in there. I thought I saw some roots. It also had a bloom, so that was nice. I think it might even be time for another repot. Yeah, the roots are escaping for sure, and they're starting to wrap around the substrate. Definitely time for another repot coming up here. Another really stunning thing about this plant, other than its dark green pillowiness, it looks very stunning. I love the bright pop in the sinus, and just the lobes are super cute. I love the tall lobes. I kind of like kiss at the top. I love the back. Look at how dark red the back of that leaf is. It is so beautiful. You can really see it more so when it comes out, and then when it hardens off, it's more of like a darker red, but when it first comes out, the back is like such a blood red color. But yeah, this plant is really, really beautiful. I'm really glad I did the import. I haven't really imported very many plants this year at all, but you know what, sometimes with an import you get a good one, and I feel like this one is definitely a good one. So yeah, this is my noID pap. We got 2 more plants left that I want to show you. One is a hoya, and the last one is going to be an anthurium. This hoya is going to be a blast from the past, but I don't care what people say about this hoya anymore. Sometimes the common hoyas are still goodies in my opinion. This is the lacunosa silver. I know everybody is over it, or it was also called a krohniana. I think I even bought this as a krohniana if I'm being honest, but I don't know the difference and I thought that they were the same. It's either a lacunosa or a krohniana silver. These had their moment. I remember when these were actually quite expensive to get cuttings, and then now cuttings are like $1 or something like that. They're very common house plants. I actually got this plant from Plantarina when she still had her store open, and it was like maybe 2 to a 3-inch pot, and it rotted on me, and it's been going through a journey. It also had dry rot when the pandurata had dry rot, so I was actually really sad that I was going to lose this whole hoya, but it just kind of corrected its rot problem. And sometimes plants will do that when you just know they've rotted and you put it off enough that it'll like magically correct itself. The leaves were paper thin and like kind of starting to fall off, and I'm like, oh crap. But now they have firmed up and it's growing. It somehow corrected its problem. I'm not exactly sure why. It also bloomed for me this summer, and I don't think currently it's blooming, but yeah, and it has some very long tendrils. It's just an oldie but a goodie. The last plant that I want to talk about is one of the most expensive anthuriums that I own. This and the bvep that I bought together with it. I'm glad that this plant is doing really, really well. This is the granthurium. He calls this his black dress crossed with his RGF2 dark clone. So those are like the parent plants of this dressleri. This plant had thrips this summer, and when I saw the new leaf had thrips on it, I'm like, oh shit, I can't believe I let a $400 plant get thrips. I don't deserve nice plants. This is why we can't have nice things. And I treated the ever loving crap out of this plant, and thankfully, praise be, the new leaf has no thrip damage, so hallelujah. I don't know if the camera is going to do it justice. This is the newest leaf. It's mostly hardened, I would say, but it is dark. I hope you can see how dark this leaf is, and I love the shift it has, and the color that came in was this like dark coppery color. It was very, very stunning. Let me show you. This is the first leaf that it had under my care. This was the leaf that had the thrips on it. I don't know if you can see the thrip damage. It was mainly under this lobe here, and it also got like scuffed here. It was just not a very nice leaf to come out, and so when I saw this one and just how nice and perfect it was, I'm like, okay, thank God this plant is doing well. For some reason it doesn't look as dark on camera, but I promise you this is like almost black. These are super duper dark. This is my dressleri. Okay, that finishes up my end of summer wrap up. I felt like I needed some kind of conclusion to the summer. Even though technically fall isn't until the end of this month, I kind of wanted to conclude in my head my summer. I don't care if it's 102 degrees out. It is now officially fall in my mind. I'm gonna get out my fall decor. This backdrop is gonna change. It's gonna be autumn in my house. I don't care how hot it is, and I don't care if it's still technically summer. It is fall. It's fall. Okay, that does it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know what plants have been doing really well in your collection over the summer, and maybe a plant that you unfortunately lost. I'm very interested to hear. Other than that, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.